the greatest game I can remember in recent history. We have literally just witnessed 9 goals in one leg. In one leg in a semi-final in the Champions League, which, wow. Honestly, I feel bad for anyone who missed that game if you like football. Even if you don't like football, I feel bad because this is what a lot of people have said that has gone away from the game. The art of football. I grew up on Ronaldinho, Zidane, Totti, Del Piero, these kind of players where they would literally mesmerize with the ball, and it was an art form. And football was more about the art of attacking rather than defending. I mean, there is an art to defending, but I don't know, maybe because I looked up to them. Ronaldinho is my favorite player ever. I even used to model my game on Ronaldinho. And this game just had everything from an attacking standpoint. Now, let's forget about defending, right? Because like I said, I think we've become sort of a systems-based sort of sport, and there's a lot of emphasis on defending. And I'm not saying we should neglect that, but there's a beauty to football. Football is meant to, in my eyes, be beautiful, be played in a beautiful way. And this was the epitome of that. So PSG playing at home at the Parc des Princes against Bayern Munich. And in my preview yesterday, I said I can see PSG winning and there being a lot of goals. And that's what happened, because Bayern Munich against Real Madrid, we saw that they conceded a lot of chances. And although they have an amazing front three, that midfield got through so easily against Real Madrid. And similarly, PSG are an attacking-based team. Like, they score for fun when they're on, and they have been on for the last 2 months. It's weird because they haven't had a great season themselves, but they're starting to find that form just at the right time. And we saw everything in abundance on show last night. And it was weird because Bayern went ahead with a Harry Kane penalty, which he put away really nicely. And look, I think the penalty was slightly bought, but it was kind of fallen for. I think Luis Diaz was definitely looking for it. But look, it happened and it happened. And Harry Kane did what he does best and puts it away really calmly in front of Parc des Princes crowd, which was absolutely mental for the game. But then within a few minutes, Kvaratskhelia, who I've said this before as well in a video, I'd say apart from Lamine Yamal and Elise, he's the best winger in the world. I'd say them three are the top 3 wingers in the world. And the reason is because he is so direct. There is no fucking about with this guy. He will literally come in and try and shoot or make an opportunity for another person. And it's just no dilly and dallying. He's literally gets the ball and boom. And he showed that last night with his goal. Comes in, cuts in on his right hand side and buries it in the bottom right corner. And it's a bit weird because I've said this before. I've never thought of Manuel Neuer as one of the all-time greats. It's just my opinion. I think he's had very, very good games. I'm not saying he's washed, but he's had this thing where he's done this before, even in his prime. I felt as though when he dived for the ball, he kind of just fell away a little bit. I was like, surely normal keepers would, reach for the ball, and he just didn't do that. But anyway, it was a great finish regardless. And they were back in the game. And then João Neves, right? So I said this before I said, forget about, if you compare the attack versus attack, a midfield versus midfield, defense versus defense. If we look at the midfield, I think that's where I'd expect that this game to be won and lost, because I feel as though in the Real Madrid Bayern Munich game, the Bayern Munich midfield got overrun so easily. And I'm not saying they've got bad players. It's just what happens. And for me, the midfield of PSG is stronger than the midfield of Bayern Munich, especially when you've got Vitinha, Zaire Emery, and João Neves. João Neves, for me, I was so jealous when PSG got him ahead of us. I'm a Man United fan. And he scores a header, and he's not even tall. He just comes in, makes a front post run and glances it. Absolutely amazing header for a goal in such a big game. But then it's one person who was, I thought, electric in the first half. In the second half, he fell off a little bit. Elise, again, turning up, man. This guy is incredible, and you can't stand off this guy. You cannot. And I feel as though for his goal, he drove through the middle of the pitch. No PSG defender went to him. And I think the PSG centre-backs are the weak links in the whole team, I would say. Marquinhos and Pacho. Pacho played really well last year. I think he's okay, but he's not top tier in my opinion. And Marquinhos, he's been around a while, but he's never been, for me, the upper echelon. He's always been a tier below. And I feel as though, Elise just cooked, man. And they stood off him, and he just smashed that ball, like absolutely smashed it. And Safonov in goal, he's not the best keeper. He's come in because Chevalier has just had a crap season, who was actually brought in to replace Donnarumma. And yeah, at that point, it was 2-2. And I was like, right, where's this game heading? Where is this game heading? And then just before half time, PSG, I think, got kind of a lucky penalty because I feel as though Alphonso Davies was so close to the ball. Like, what could he have really done with his arm? Maybe he shouldn't be out there, but I feel it was a bit harsh. But anyway, Dembele, just like Harry Kane, puts it away with pure confidence in the bottom right-hand corner. And it's 3-2 going into the second half. And I was like, this is amazing. And one thing I want to say, so I mentioned like PSG's centre-backs being the weak links. But honestly, I think I said that the wing backs of PSG are probably the best like fullback or wing back pairing I've ever seen in world football. But last night, Elise and Diaz were cooking on the wings. And Nuno Mendes, who literally locked up Lamine Yamal like in the past, like he's quality, but Elise had him on toast, man. And I feel like Marquinhos was chasing shadows all game. Luis Diaz kept coming in and cooking him as well. And yeah, honestly, I just didn't know where this game was going to go. And then in the second half, honestly, PSG came out of smoke. Kvara gets a second goal, and I was just like, yo, they're going to run away with it now. It was 4-2. And then Ousmane Dembele gets scored an incredible goal for a fifth goal to make it 5-2, where he just put it through Upamecano's legs and it goes in and hits like the post, inside the post, and goes across. I love it when goals do that. You know, when it hits like the woodwork and goes in, it's just. And at that point, I'm thinking 5-2, PSG should just lock this up. But I think they got a little bit complacent because there was a ball put into the box on a free kick and Dale Upamecano gets like glances at it. I don't really know what he did. To be honest, it looked like it just hit him in the face and it just went in. And I feel like PSG could defend that way better. And then Luis Diaz, who was a menace throughout the whole game, he's just annoying. He's like a little pest. And he latches onto a really good over-the-top through ball from Harry Kane from the halfway line. And his first touch is great. And then he does a little hezzy, almost like that you do in basketball, and puts Marquinhos on the floor and then slots it in. A great goal. But I'll be real, I think that PSG should have seen this out at 5-2. Even if it was like 5-3, I think that should have been where it got to at the most. But 5-4, it's a bit of a precarious position now for PSG to go to Bayern Munich. I had PSG going through in this tie. But the thing is, I think PSG are one of them teams that they can literally turn up anywhere and just turn it on. So it doesn't really matter, I don't think, if it is in Bayern Munich's arena. We saw Real Madrid have so many chances there as well. So I don't think for big teams, I don't think Allianz Arena is a fortress. And I'm hoping the same again, man. Like literally this time next week, we're going to get the same again. And I genuinely can't wait. It's going to be one of the best ties I've ever seen. It reminds me of, I think there was a tie that Dortmund were in literally like 10 years ago or something, over 10 years ago, when they had Lewandowski and stuff. And it reminds me of that. There was like loads of goals. I can't remember who they played against, but it reminds me of that. I think it might have been Real Madrid. I might be mistaken, but honestly, this was the best advert for football, especially where football has essentially, people have been saying where it's going and in terms of defensive. Now, let's not focus on the defensive. Like I said, it wasn't great defensively. I think both teams weren't great in that area. And I even think midfield it wasn't. This was just all about the attacks. You have literally 6 of the best attackers going head to head against each other. And I think out of all of them stood out. Maybe Doué, he came away with 2 assists, but I don't think he had the best of games. But honestly, I don't think any game is going to better this season. Like even the second leg of this, the benchmark of this is so high, and we have watched the 2 best teams in this year's competition. I said alongside Real Madrid, but yeah, this should be in the final. But like you can't say fix a draw for the best teams to be in the final. But this should have been the final because on the other side of the draw, they're not at this level. But honestly, I can't wait. This gives me hope. It's giving me hope about football. I hope this inspires like kids to go play. Like I said, when I watch Ronaldinho play and stuff, that I would literally go out and get my ball and start playing football with my brother like for 3-4 hours just on the basis of what I've seen. I feel as though some of the performances that we saw in last night's game could have that effect, could inspire a new generation of footballer. And I hope it does, man, because if it does, football will be amazing in about 10 years' time. But I just want to say thank you for everyone that's watching. And yeah, man, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are bringing you daily videos. So I'll see you here tomorrow. Peace.